Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to another Overwatch Character Spotlight. This time, taking a look at McCree. So McCree is another one of the offensive characters in Overwatch, one of several that we've already taken a look at. He's an old school Westerner. He's got a 6-shooter and he's a lot of fun to play. For a long time people have been saying McCree is a little bit overpowered, and to be fair, he has been a little bit overpowered. Shortly before closed beta ended and open beta started, McCree got a little bit of a nerf. But I guess the people over at Blizzard decided that it wasn't quite good enough, so they reverted the nerf that they did at closed beta, and then they reduced him a little bit differently. So we're going to go through and take a look at what he does, and I'll talk about how he was changed. This nerf went into effect today, and I was purposely waiting because I knew it was coming to kind of cover McCree before. I wanted to make sure we covered him after the nerf, so you guys had a good understanding of how he worked. So mechanics of McCree didn't change. They just tweaked a little bit how much damage he does and how much he's capable of doing. So let's take a look at McCree. So, holding F1, we can see that he's got a couple things. First, he's got his Peacekeeper Rifle. It's accurate and powerful, and it's a very nice revolver. So we can go ahead and shoot people. Not bad. 3 shots to the chest kills a training bot. 2 to the head. Or probably 1 to the head and 1 to the chest, maybe? Let's find out. Nice. So as you can see, the 6-shooter is very powerful. Nice. Now, if I were to back up a little bit, let's see how much damage this does. Aha! What do we got going on here? So this is an interesting mechanic of Overwatch. Basically, hit scan weapons like the pistol and soldier's gun, many of them have what's called damage fall off. And the further away you are from an enemy, the less damage your gun's gonna do. So notice it took 4 body shots to kill him there, but up close, 3. Nice. So that's a mechanic of many hit scan weapons. So I want you guys to be aware, the further away you are, the less damage you're gonna do. But obviously, aiming for the head's probably a good idea. 3 shots at the head from range, only 2 once you're up close. Nice. Now McCree's right-click ability is called Wildly Fire Remaining Rounds. Right-click and... nice. That is cool. Notice that it did less damage than the individual shots because, as we can see, it took pretty much all 6 rounds to kill the training bot. Cool. And it only fires remaining rounds, which means if you've only got 2 rounds left in your gun, it's only going to fire 2 shots. Notice also that the reticle that indicates where your bullets might land are much larger when you're right-clicking, as opposed to that, which means that if you right-click from a distance, chances of you killing somebody are remote. Your E ability is going to be much hated by your enemies. Notice that it is a flashbang grenade that stuns the enemies for about a second, and it gives you a nice ability to right-click, so that's pretty much what you're going to want to practice. E, and right-click. Boom, they dead. It does a really nice job of stunning and letting you kill people. This is a great counter for small, fast characters like Tracer, who's very hard to hit. Genji, who's very hard to hit. They're jumping around and acting crazy. You just go ahead and toss your flash grenade and make sure to do a little bit of right-clicking, and they go down pretty easily. Just make sure that you're close, because if you're far away and right-click, as we learned, you're not going to kill them. The other ability you have is Shift, which rolls, and many people don't realize what the Shift ability does. Combat roll. Roll in the direction you're moving, and reload. Watch. Cool? So that's why it's on an 8-second cooldown. It's not just a little bit of a roll to get away from enemies, but it's also a nice way to reload. So if you are going up against an enemy, so for example, one of these bots, and you miss your right-click ability, you can roll, and, you know, obviously you'll reload a lot quicker with that roll, and it gives you a little bit of mobility, which is nice. Cool? Just make sure to roll after you've shot, before you reload. And your ultimate ability, Deadeye. A little tricky to use and get right. Press Q, and wait for the dots nice, to go over the two characters' heads. So I'm going to show that again in case you missed it. But notice that it took a second for you to lock on. Once the character heads have the red dot on it, that's when you know you're ready to click. Characters with more health, like tanks, are going to take longer for that red dot to show up. Characters with small amounts of health will take less. Also, when McCree calls out "it's high noon," like we just heard, it's usually when a lot of your enemies are going to run and hide for cover, because all they have to do is get out of line of sight. You noticed one of the training bots was hiding behind a wall, and therefore I didn't kill him. So let's go ahead and try that again. Press Q. Notice when you got the red skulls, that's when you're going to want to left click. Okay. Note also that if you press Q and decide to hit escape or right click to cancel, it only uses 50% of your ultimate meter. Notice it's still 50% charged, meaning that if you decide that you hit Q and you wasted it, you better cancel it instead of just clicking and hitting nobody. Also, I should go ahead and note that if you left click before the red skull appears, you're going to do less than ideal damage.
Someone call the Undertaker.
So in what way was McCree nerfed? Well, in the last patch, before open beta started and after closed or beta ended, the right click ability had about a 3/4 of a second, so 0.75 seconds delay after you right clicked. This is where the delay would be between the right click and the reload. Pretty short right now because they reverted that change. It's now down to about a 1/3 of a second. So if you pay real close attention, it's about 1/3 of a second between right click and reload occurs. Okay, so they tried to increase that. Instead, they reverted that train, brought it back down to a 1/3 of a second, and what they did is reduce the amount of damage each bullet does on right click, which is why it takes 6 full shots to kill a training bot with right click and 3 to kill a training bot with left click. The reason for this change is McCree was pretty much good against everybody. Playing McCree, I was able to kill tanks pretty easily by stunning them and right-clicking them. And you shouldn't be able to kill tanks that easily. And even if I didn't finish them off, I could just right-click, roll, and right-click again, and the tank would be dead. Bad times for the tank. Really, McCree's intention is to counter characters like Tracer and Genji with that right-click and stun flashbang. So the fact that he was pretty much good against everybody was a problem, and that's why I think that they nerfed him a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and try this, because actually I haven't played McCree since the nerf, but I'm interested to see how he does against tanks like Reinhardt and Roadhog and even Zarya, who we just checked out last Spotlight, to see how he does now. Because you still have the ability to right-click, punch, roll, right-click, punch again. That's a pretty deadly combo, even with the nerf. So we're going to see how that works out. Let's go jump into some games and see what happens. Alright guys, as you can see here, I'm heading out of the spawn room. I know there's a bunch of people on our point. As you can see, there's 2 or 3 of them hanging out up there. They just popped an ultimate. I need to do something about this. So I need to charge my ult, so I kind of go after Tracer there and pop it. Boom! Triple kill. Nice. This time we're attacking a point, and I'm going to show you a good combination of that stun, fan, the hammer. Definitely feels a little bit weaker after the nerf, which, you know, expected. But here comes a Zenyatta. I see he's going after me. Stun, fan, nice. And then a roll to reload, just in case I needed to shoot him again, because I was getting used to the fact that you need it. Now I'm going on to the point. I'm going to see a Tabiorn down there, pop him a couple times. And some symmetric turrets. So I rolled to avoid the symmetric turrets. Your roll is useful as a defensive move. So here we are, another attack point. We have captured A there. Going after Zenyatta, take him down. Nice. Like I was saying, roll's a good defensive maneuver too. It just reloads your weapon, so keep both in mind, right? You can use it for both modes. So let's see, I'm gonna sneak up here. What do we got going on? We got a heal. Zarya, just take her down. A little bit of an ult. Zarya managed to protect herself from my ult, but I was able to kill her anyway. And then take out a Tabiorn turret, unfortunately. You know, that's all right. And then finally here, I just want to show an example of how you can use your stun to counter an enemy's ult. Even though I'm about to kill Hanzo here, I stun him to make sure he doesn't pop off that ultimate ability. Take out D.Va with a couple fan the hammers. Nice, but she pops off her ult and Wait, you really? So guys, I think that about covers it for the McCree Spotlight. He's definitely a powerful character. With the nerf, having played him a bit before the nerf and a bit after the nerf, I'm actually a little concerned it was a little bit too aggressive of a tuning. So hoping that they roll back a little bit, and not as much of a nerf, but overall, still definitely a fun character to play. Highly recommend checking him out. His counter ability for a lot of ultimates and a lot of abilities like we saw with Hanzo's stun. I didn't get a chance to demo it with Reaper's ability, like his Q ability, but you know, if you get in there quickly, you can real quick stun that. So definitely some cool abilities to counter using McCree, and of course, his Fan the Hammer is definitely still useful. As we saw, even without a stun, we can easily take out a few people. Nice. So for now, Darryl20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed learning about McCree. Take it easy.